Hello.
Hello. Yes, maybe we can start now. Hello everyone. Welcome to the fifth talk series of the phase four on cooking to grid. And thank you all for joining. And to start the session, I would like to invite Dr. Nick Russo, International License Manager, MECS program. Uh, Nick has over 20 years of experience of working in UK government. His final role was Head of International Innovation Strategy at Department of Business, Innovation and Skills. Nick led the innovation strands of Newtown program and government-to-government policy dialogues. Next consultancy, Unconventional Connections, focuses on innovation collaboration, included work funded by DFID on harnessing the UK's strengths in clean energy technology to increase access to clean energy in Africa and Southeast Asia. Nick has personal interest in sustainable solutions to local and global food related challenges. In 2015, he set up the Woven Network, UK based network for those working in insect protein. Nick holds a BA, MSc, and PhD degrees in psychology from the University of Cambridge, Loughborough, and Sheffield, with a focus on psychology and user-centered system design. Within the MECS project, Nick is one of the international license managers for India. So welcome, Nick, and you may take this session forward.
Thank you, Satyam. Thank you. I'm very excited to be involved in this particular session. It's very timely, it feels to me. I have some slides, so I'm going to share my screen. Let's just get that to work. Screen. Let's just go into presentation mode. Okay. Okay. So I'll explain a bit about the topic that we're going to be looking at today, and then give you a bit more background. So the context of this is that the MECS program is looking at the current situation regarding electric cooking in India. We're taking a year out to kind of really review that and identify the way forward for the next 4 or 5 years to 2030. And as we talk to people across the energy and cooking space, we are finding a particular challenge in relation to people being able to cook, particularly domestic households, cooking off on the grid. Now, those of you who understand utilities and electricity provision will know better than I do that in India, discoms, as they're called, are required to have the capacity to deliver the total sanctioned load of all their customers. So that is a notional peak demand load that they have to be able to meet. In practice, however, most of the time that demand is not actually there. And so they have a lot of unused capacity, which is wasted resource in many respects. Our aim in introducing electric cooking into countries such as India is to provide a way in which these utility companies can get a return on their investment in that capacity through creating additional revenue from electric cooking, where people may otherwise or previously be spending their money on fossil fuels of various sorts. And so it's better for the economy, it's better for the environment. And it also helps to support investment in expansion of energy access. However, in India, and not only in India, in many countries, a lot of the cooking in the domestic context happens in the evening. And that is when the peak load tends to occur, because everyone comes home, they turn on their AC, they turn on the telly, they have the lights, they charge their phones. And so if they were to then be cooking as well, that would only exacerbate the challenge of increasing the sanction load potential demand. So this is where there is a need to look at a sort of behavioral change or some other way in which to mean that the load that the cooking presents to the grid is not at that peak period. And one of the options for doing this is through the use of batteries or local storage of energy combined with sort of differential tariffs of peak and off-peak periods. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So we have a number of eminent experts who have a good understanding of this and have practical experience. And as ever, I'm sure it'll be a very informative discussion. But that's the focus. I'll just now take you through a little bit of background. So the MECS program, if you're not already aware, Modern Energy Cooking Services, is an 8-year research program funded by the UK government, led by Loughborough University. The MECS program researches socio-economic realities of the transition from polluting fuels to a range of modern fuels. So we look at all different aspects of it and try to find a way of piecing these things together to really help to drive change. And while the research covers several clean fuels, we're very open to the idea of a clean stack, where people would use a combination of different ways of cooking. The evidence that we have seen points to the viability, cost effectiveness, and user satisfaction of energy efficient electric cooking devices. So this is both really positive from the point of view of the user experience, but also, as I mentioned earlier, it provides that revenue opportunity for those providing the electricity. And so our belief is that this can create a virtual cycle of people being able to have better access to electricity, and that supports their broader development, because it gives a revenue stream back to the investor in that electricity infrastructure. Can someone mute themselves, please? We're getting a bit of background. We're working across multiple countries with lots of different partners, and India is no exception. And in India, our program is delivered by Finovista, excellent in-country partner, and we've been doing this together with Finovista since 2019. The program was launched in 2020. One of the really powerful and valuable, I think, aspects of what we're doing in India is this talk series. And we started this way back in 2020 and have been running them practically every month since then. So we've had a growing audience of participants, a really impressive panel of speakers every time, and a very informed discussion. And often the connections that are made during these events are very valuable in supporting the community that we're seeing, finding solutions to the different challenges and connecting with one another. And this is increasingly international, and we welcome speakers and delegates and audience members from everywhere across the world who could find this valuable. Many of the themes that we discuss are of broader relevance than just India. Right now, we're also planning for our next annual event, the MEC Forum for India. And the date of that is the 26th of September. So get that in your diaries, and you can register right now if you're interested in attending. Also, we're going to have an innovation pavilion. We always have an opportunity for companies to showcase their technologies, their cooking solutions and appliances. And again, you can register your interest in that right now. This year, as I say, is part of the stock take. So we'll be discussing the insights and the learning we're getting from talking to a wide range of people, and getting the reflections of panels of experts on key themes. So it should be a really good one. And our aim is, by the end of this calendar year, to have mapped out and planned some really substantial scale-up programs and interventions for the next 4 years to 2030. So we're already talking with potential funding organizations about what they could be bringing to the table, and looking at what these insights that we're getting tell us about what needs to be done, what the priorities are. So thank you for that. That was my introduction. I'm going to hand over to Vimal now, who is going to introduce the I'm going to stop sharing, sorry. So let me introduce Vimal. Vimal is a good friend of mine. He's the co-founder and leader of Finovista, which is a program management consultancy covering a whole range of areas, and we've worked extensively together. And Finovista have been leading and delivering the MECS program in India year on year with great success. And I'm pleased to say they're also now delivering similar programs for other partners, building on that success and their expertise. But at this point, I'm just going to hand over to Vimal, who's going to take us forward. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Nick. Welcome all and good afternoon. I'm sorry for the late. So today's session is very, very interesting sessions, and then we have the lot of good people who are going to talk about this session. And this session, as we can understand, this is the concept level main. We don't know how it is going to land and all, but we thought to give something, some new try how the when we talk about that cooking with electricity, so electricity stability can be provided. So if we can add the solar or we can add the battery or what else can we do? But when you are adding anything which is increasing the cost, so how we can actually minimize the cost of new acquisition, which is capex and opex also. So our today's session, and we have a lot of panelists will be focusing purely on the grid connected battery storage for the cooking applications. And this traditionally we are thinking that this battery is stationed at the kitchen, and whenever you have electricity, the cooking is happening through the electricity, and then in case of power cut, the battery is going to provide the backup support. This is the stage one. Stage two, in lot of states, which is coming of the time of day tariff. So if you hope you all understand the time of day tariff. If I have to explain the time of day tariff, some of the states, especially the commercial consumer, they pay normal price, then the off-peak price, then on-peak price. So normally, let's say 100 rupees is the cost for the sake of just explaining. So 100 unit is the 100 bucks is the cost of electricity. During the off-peak, they will you will be paying 80, and during the peak, you will be paying 120. So the concept and idea which we are trying to validate and understand that, let's say the battery charging is happening when the non-peak hour, which means 80 units, and during the peak hour, it can be released back to the grid, which is the 120. So this is the especially the role of arbitrage of 40 units, or since whatever you can call it. This is going to give the lot of opportunity for the peak load management. Number one, the lot of money goes for the generation side for peak load management. So how the peak load management can be managed through this also, though we were not going to talk about too much on that, but focusing on the mostly the cost aspect, how to make it affordable. And then you also require to have the smart BMS. So smart BMS is going to play the very critical role here, because the BMS is going to be the heart and soul of the entire battery operations. So this is also going to give opportunity to uh, uh, manage the charging, discharging efficiently. So life of the battery will be higher. So this will be the quick route of introduction. So now we like to invite Mr. Abhishek Gupta. He is the head of international strategy, rooftop solar appliances, PENA at EESL. As you know, we are working with EESL for a long time, and EESL is our most prominent partner in their journey. So Abhishek is a seasoned strategic energy leader with over 23 years of experience in sustainability, energy efficiency, renewable energy, infrastructure sector. Currently, he is heading the international division. And as we all know, India is ESL is India's leading energy service company. In current capacity, he reached the formulation and the evolution of business strategy, the development of new business verticals, market, and the appraisal of high impact projects to ensure their bankability, adaptability, replicability. In addition to his role at ESL, he is the director at boards of 7 international entities: ESL Energy Solutions, Edina UK, Edina Power UK, Edina Limited Ireland, Stanbic Limited Ireland, Armura Holding Ireland, Edina Australia, His work spanned his work spans sustainable cooling, clean cooking, women empowerment, net zero pathway, carbon neutrality, green hydrogen, reflecting his passion for advancing global and sustainable development for climate action. He is also certified energy auditor by National Productivity Council. He began his career with NTPC and has since held a leadership position in organizations including the Lanco, BGR, BBG, and Delhi International Airport before ESL. He holds the bachelor degree in mechanical engineer from the IIT Roorkee and PGDBM in finance and engineering from the MDI Gurgaon, and currently pursuing the law degree. So with this introduction, we request Abhishek ji to share his thought.
Thanks, Vimalji. Thank you so very much for elaborated introduction. Yes, but I must say that we are lucky to be part of this kind of initiative. And over a period of last couple of years, we have seen the kind of initiatives being taken by MECS. And we appreciate that. We have been able to have a specific intervention done in clean cooking space. Be it just plain vanilla induction versus the solar-based induction cooker stoves and all. We have seen that this is an idea which is evolving in Indian context, and very rightly so. It is being supported by right set of people, and that is something which is critical as far as we as ESL is concerned. We have been trying to propagate this through G2G intervention at mega scale. We have seen successes as well, even at the places called Ladakh, wherein electricity is something which is there, but the alternate source of cooking is actually very, very costly. So this becomes a natural choice for the people who are there in Ladakh to have this kind of solution at their places. We've also seen that specific initiatives being taken and well received by Anganwadis who are preparing the midday meals as well for the children, and this kind of initiative is getting quite handy. As far as the concept of putting a battery as a storage solution which gets charged during off-peak hours and gets discharged for cooking activities during peak hours, I find this particular idea very effective because it is a fact that if you just go at the exchange right now, you'll find that the power is being sold at as low as 25 paisa per unit during off-peak hours versus 10 rupees during peak hours. This itself shows that there are kind of arbitrage which is available in Indian grid. There is a great case of having high amount of storage or the availability of electricity which is available to store through the batteries and naturally use it whenever it is actually required, and that typically follows during the peak time. The only thing which we find challenging here is about how do we make this more affordable, because induction per se is not the major cost. The major cost is about the storage. And that's where we find that a lot of innovation is actually required to bring down the cost of storage as much as possible. And especially in cooking, we see that this being virtually fixed load concept, there is minimum of the variation in terms of the electrical load for cooking. So it is not something which requires, very complex BMS, and it also does not require very high quantum of storage. We could see that even if you have, say, 3 kilowatt hour battery as your backup, you are able to cook food for 4 to 6 people in the household. And so it's all about standardizing the quantum of storage of electricity which you need and making it at the mass level. And that's where we are actually thinking of uh, to come up with one standard solution which helps the manufacturers to just produce it at large scale. This concept has been very well proven by ESL, because we could actually standardize the products, be it in the lighting sector or even air conditioners or even charging stations as well, wherein we could very clearly fix out the specifications and then went for large scale procurement of those solutions to bring down the variations and in turn the production cost as well. We find that if this approach is taken, that will help the manufacturers to a very great extent to come up with the best of their technologies and also bring down the cost for the end customer. There is another interesting case which we are thinking, this being uh, a fixed load application to a greater extent, with least of the variations in terms of the quantum of electricity which is required. Maybe used batteries which are typically subjected to high variation of load, say in automobile and all, that can also be tested to reuse for cooking purpose, even if it is having less capacity, which is typically required for uh, movement based applications or EV based solutions. I find that if that is something which can be piloted and well understood, that will help to solve the issue of recycling or issue of repurposing of the battery, which are coming out increasingly from electric vehicles. That being the concept, and since electricity being available, typically in the daytime with the least of the cost and time of day kind of tariff coming in force in next couple of years, I think that can be a win-win situation, win-win solution for this particular segment. As far as this kind of cooking is concerned, in fact, we have been doing pilots in multiple areas. And in fact, recently we talked to ADB as well, and they're trying to understand the kind of impact which this kind of cooking transformation can happen, right from biomass-based cooking to electric cooking. I think the kind of impact it is going to make on not only the women who is typically cooking in Indian households, rather the entire family lifestyle gets changed. And if you see the number of SDG goals which we can actually target through this kind of initiative is more than 10, if not all. So we find that this kind of initiative would be very important for India to leapfrog from the typical way of cooking, especially in the rural areas, based on the biomass to electric directly. And it will also reduce the kind of import related uh, cost which government is bearing to a greater extent for importing the LPG or PNG for that matter. So we are all into it. In fact, we would love to have specific supports and coordinations and cooperations from all the stakeholders to make this particular initiative even more successful. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, Abhishek ji, for your detailed talk, and especially you highlighted the role of collaboration, partnership. Then you spoke about that innovations needed, and we do understand that since this battery concept is new and the kind of a scale which we are going to look at, the kind of it can clean our kitchen and then free the woman from the lot of unproductive work in the kitchen and all. So thank you all. Thank you for that. And now I'm going to invite Mr. Rajan Varshi. He's the DGM at NTPC, and the entire idea is not ours, but I like to give the credit to Rajanji because he gave a lot of inputs regularly and all. He spoke about this concept, I think, about 2 years ago, and from the then we were observing this technology and the concept. And I want to highlight 2 points, and then also request Rajanji on this that when the Honorable Prime Minister during the Bharat Auto Expo last year, he said that let's say 50 million people are using cooking, and if they can start cooking with a solar and battery, then the cost of battery will drastically come down, which automatically helping the automotive industry. So here is that we want to see that how the battery can be the household name, and especially the high performing battery like lithium and the various combinations of lithium, or maybe we don't know the future technology. That's number one. Number two, like typically in Indian households, very much popular in earning some money. So our mother, grandmother, and all they're very accustomed to earn some kind of money, even in the rural areas. Still, this concept persists, and this can also provide some potential to earning the money rather than paying the money for cooking. So with this, I want to invite Rajan ji, and his quick introduction is Mr. Rajan Vashni has over 35 years of experience in the energy sector and is from the largest Indian power sector company in TPC, which is diversifying into the related field. He is MTech from IIT Delhi and BE and MBA from Delhi. Certification includes the Harvard Management Mentor, Carbon Market and Energy Market, Hydrogen Green Chemical Energy Transition Sector from IIT Roorkee and IIT Bombay. He is spearheading efforts from September 2020, notifications of H2 and SCNG is permitted fuel under the Indian Motor Vehicle Act and safety standard for FCEVs. Uh, uh, he has taken several new initiatives in decarbonization, water, waste recycling, waste value-added product. His several papers in hydrogen economy have widely acclaimed. He has been published a chapter on H2 product, H2 means hydrogen production from the biomass, and in book published in Springer, Singapore under the Climate Action and Hydrogen Economy series. So with this introduction, we want to invite Mr. Rajan Vashni.
Thank you, Vimalji, and Abhishekji for giving a good overview of the system. So let me just add that this is something which will create much better grid, reliable, resilient grid, because this battery with the e-cooking appliance will be having the capability of bi-directional energy flow. So it can consume electricity as well as it can supply power back to the grid, just like V2G systems being tried right now. And it will have dynamic grid interaction, intelligently managing the energy flow to support grid stability and also meeting the household cooking needs. So it can help in peak shaving, like Vimalji explained in the starting. Load balancing will be the effect. Without having new capacity, these batteries will be able to support the peak load. And especially in more RE being injected, that to this solar based, PV based, and even rooftop PV being promoted by various schemes right now also. So it can efficiently use that PV power, intermittent power into the battery, and battery can give the inverter and other things, and the cooking needs also can be served by that. And that too in the evening or in the morning when PV is not working. So it is enabling renewable energy for cooking. So, and also overall costs are getting reduced because PV power in the day is even at times nearly free or even curtailed also. So even the solar rooftop on houses and offices will also be useful. They will be like without putting new transmission lines, strengthening the grid or whatever. Same thing can be used as if it is a microgrid, connected microgrid. And then health and environmental gains are there because the houses which are using biomass or other things or coal or whatever, they can also get it free because if government supports it, PV is being supported. If this is also supported, then a lot of health benefits will be there. And even though LPG and fuel wood collection takes a lot of time, that also will be reduced and they will be having more productivity time. So health, one study was done. So per household, indoor air pollution will reduce, external air pollution will also reduce, and the health cost savings have been calculated as rupees 1,500 per year in a experiment conducted, pilot conducted. And basic payback period is 2-3 years, even without subsidy. But if government subsidizes part of it, so this 4,500 or something like this, it can be very economical. And OPEX cost is around 2 rupees per kilowatt hour only. CapEx reduces by 40%. So roughly that much, 60% is to be subsidized. But there are certain technical challenges like grid compatibility, addressing the battery degradation. Then communication protocols have to be standardized. Then financial innovation like subsidy scheme or something like pay per use or something, a lower cost can be fixed so that people are forced to use also. Then behavioral challenges are because since it is involving new cooking habits, so ingrained cooking habits have to be changed. And with proper planning, adoption can be done for these appliances. Then other solutions like standardization, if we do the standardization of appliances, awareness campaigns can be standardized, and smart charging algorithms to ensure maximum battery life and grid utility can be there. 2 real world case studies were done. In East African mini grid, success was noticed in a rural setup, and evening peak demand got reduced by 25% because of the batteries itself. And in an urban project in India, 5 nearby households were connected and e-cooker with batteries was piloted. So it was also showing crucial local resilience and the stability of the microgrid. So what we have to do, we should encourage more pilot projects, support and scale real-world deployments to get further data and demonstrate the impact, promote R&D, fund research to refine the technology and cater to the challenges like improving efficiency, standardization of algorithms, and ultimately all this will reduce the costs. Then advocate for policy support, policies and incentives for better adoption and grid integration. So basically there are many benefits, and presence of Chinese companies in the market is also showing that there is a good competition now, and we have to have smarter design, stronger networks, and relentless innovation. Then peer-to-peer trading will come up shortly with India Energy Stake recommendation IES. It will be a UPI of electricity movement. So it will be really helpful and can give huge returns with the battery in house, and that too can supply the energy to e-cookers. Then PVs are rooftop solar PV is being implemented. 1 crore houses are to be adopting this by 2027. So accordingly, if batteries are also there, a lot of resilience will be there, and overall cost of capacity addition and transmission strengthening, distribution strengthening, that will also reduce. Connected microgrids will make everything cheaper, because when your electricity is not in use, your battery is earning something. So overall cooking cost gets reduced. And it will also reduce dependence on coal-based electricity, because batteries give you firm power, and PV is giving you intermittent power, and that too, maybe when it is not required, also it is generating. So battery is giving all this resilience, and overall carbon intensity of the grid gets reduced along with the better integration of RE. So health gains, cost savings, everything is there. Only thing is we have to have some habits change and some subsidy and policy support. So this is what I have to share. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rajanji. Very useful insight, right from the technology level, the device challenges level, the cost aspects level, even the policy supports level, and most importantly, as our grid is becoming greener day by day, and I'm happy to share that Government of India has actually published the data that India has achieved 50% commitment of renewable energy right now, 5 years ahead than the what committed that. So which means that the lot of scope is there to promote electricity as a cooking options, and this will be beneficial to all people. And then we also understand that people who are doing the cooking is actually require this kind of energy and all. And with this, now I like to invite Dr. Praveen Dhamija. She is advisor at Finovista and former advisor at Skill Council of Green Job, and then advisor at and scientist G at Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, and EO and head of EEREM, Central Government of NCT Delhi, which is the Delhi SDA. Dr. Praveen Dhamija has more than 3 decades of vast experience and expertise in development, promotion, adoption, and monitoring of different renewable technologies, and a special focus on biomass-based technology for promotion of clean cooking to reduce indoor air pollution, improving health women, and reducing their drudgery by coordinating national program on biogas, improved chula, women and renewable energy department, village energy security promotions of new technology like fuel cells, hydrogen, battery operated vehicle, government energy, and tidal energy. Dr. Dhamija was also head of the state nodal agency, which within Delhi SDA, and promotion of renewable energy, improving energy efficiency, climate activities. So yes, Dr. Dhamija.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you're mute. You're mute. You're on mute.
Good evening to all of you. At the onset, I want to thank all of you for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this esteemed panel. As you can see from what Mr. Vimal said, I have been associated with clean cooking for quite some long, in fact, right from the very inception. And cooking as per se is something which is very basic to all of us. We need to do cooking, but the cooking which we is being done in the country, or which is being done by millions of people, it is still creating problems in terms of indoor air pollution, in terms of health, in terms of, the woman has, it's a drudgery for the woman who has to go and collect fuel and get, and come, and even the time spent is this thing, her safety is endangered. So there have been initiatives, the biomass stoves, the solar, the biogas programs, all this government has been taking initiative. And this is now the recent focus is electric cooking. We have to focus, we are focusing on electricity, because electricity is something which was not there. In fact, the whole country was not electrified, but then with the progress, how electrification has taken place, we have now more and more of electricity, and we are focusing on electric cooking. That means using heat from using electricity to generate heat, and then do cooking, make our meals. So this is a very significant step that we are, evolving. But for this, I would say there are problems, there are issues. The electricity supply is not stable. It is not reliable. In fact, I would like to share that when I was in Skill Council, I had the opportunity of implementing a project in 45 villages in Haryana for clean cooking. And we also took up induction stoves. That was way back in 2017. And the first problem which we faced was that the electricity supply is not regular. It is only for about 12 hours. So this was the first problem. So then we resolved this problem, and I'm very happy to share that we could induct, in each and every household, there were 12,000 households, we could induct induction stove from each and every household. And I tell you the feedback, because it was an REC sponsored project. It was being looked after by the earlier, the President's office, Honorable President of India, late Shri Pranab Kumar. He was the one they were looking after this project. So every household was using it, and there was quite a lot of feedback that the stoves are being used. So that was a very significant step, and it is again reliable on whether the energy source is stable, it is there, and then people will want to use it. They want to buy it. So that is one experience I wanted to share. So coming to that, I was reading a lot on this, because this is per se a concept which I was reading, and I was very impressed by the concept that yes, when you integrate batteries with the electric cooking, you can have a lot of difference. Battery integration will, it will provide a mechanism for the woman to use the system at any time of the day. She will also have a very reliable and a consistent supply of energy. So that can help us. I was reading they can be high purges when you require higher electricity, currents for the cooking. So that also can be taken care by the battery, and this is a facility which should be encouraged. Batteries integration into the systems will be very helpful for facilitating clean cooking. And in fact, the concept cooking to grid, that is something which is really an intersection of energy access and clean cooking. It is providing a platform where all the SDGs which are related to health, education, gender, climate, access to energy can be, operationalized. So this is something which I found as a concept. And the peak loading, like we said, that the peak thing should be, or we can say when it is off peak, the battery should be charged. So that is also something I feel it is going to really give. In fact, it will give a storage mechanism, and then loading it back, it can even strengthen the grid. So that is one thing I wanted to say. Cooking to grid is something very important, which should be taken in a broader perspective. I was reading that the kitchens can be energy hubs, because once you have electricity which you have used through the battery, you can inject it to the grid. The system which Mr. Vimal was saying, that there is a smart system, smart battery storage system, through that we can re-inject. And of course, when we talk of clean cooking, we talk of livelihoods, we talk of women being empowered. Here also, it is an opportunity for the woman or the household to get more income by re-injecting to the grid or passing it back to the grid. So I feel this is something which should be adopted, which should be promoted, and we need some policy support. We also need a lot of, appliance support. I would not call it subsidies, because here also when we were in the villages, we had to give a 50% subsidy for the system. But yes, that was a sponsored project, CSR project. But otherwise, en masse, we have to look for some support to the systems, to the appliances. Then the R&D on the batteries. Batteries is something, lithium, I have been working in, as Mr. Vimal said, I have been working a lot on the batteries in terms of electric mobility. And I found that lithium was one of the, we used to say it is the option which will come in the future. Now the future has come. We have the batteries, but we need to do more work, more this thing, research on it, and come up with more options. That time we had only Excite batteries who used to come up every time for the meetings, and they used to give us their views. So now we have to have more vendors, more manufacturers in the battery research. So there has to be, because if the battery cost comes down, there will be a more demand, there will be more, the costs will come down. So the policy support, the support to the appliances, more R&D, are all these challenges or all these things which will bring down the costs. So then we can have more financial models, financial models which we can upscale and we can apply. So this is what I want to say. And more than this, I would just like to say that in the end, I would like to just sum up. Battery storage and C2G model together form a powerful alternative for clean energy transition. Batteries ensure reliability, and C2G turn home into energy producers rather than consumers. It improves health, it reduces environmental damage, and it is an opportunity for higher income generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your detailed elaboration from the MNRE perspective, the government perspective, and the need of a policy support. Of course, subsidy not make sense, but definitely some kind of support which is actually giving the ripple effect for the larger good. And the way lithium is actually going, and then MECS has some study which suggests that in coming future, in the 4 or 5 years, that cost of storage and the solar will be coming down drastically, and it is going to beat coal or the coal and other dirty fuel very shortly. So yes, the future is right now here. And with this, we have a very wonderful panelist, Prashanta ji. So since Terry work a lot on ground and on the policy, so my question with I wanted to hear a lot from the Prashanta ji, that how the policy can be supportive, how the ground can be sensitized, how the people can be used, and the being a Terry, you have also worked on the livelihood conditions and all, is actually can give a opportunity for households to earn and all. So all this I wanted to hear. And before hearing him, let's have the introduction. So Prashanta is a fellow at Terry. He is a fellow at Terry and Stanford, the Energy and Resource Institute, serving as an area convener in the Center of Rural Action and the Terry Social Transformation CSR Division. His portfolio span last mile energy access, energy for livelihood, and the enterprise development, with an emphasis of the gender inclusive delivery model and the partnership with the government and CSR actors. At Terry, Prashanta has contributed to marquee initiatives that deploy decentralized clean energy solutions for households and the micro enterprises. His recent work include assessment of solar PV for women-led swing cluster in Jharkhand, documenting productivity, income, and reliability gained from the clean power and off-grid and weak grid setting. He has also co-authored outreach writing for women empowerment through the renewable energy, reflecting practice to policy orientation. Earlier, he was associated with Terry energy access efforts such as Lightning Billion Lives, which is a kind of which is a pioneer community center model for a clean lighting and cooking initiative. Prashanta combined field implementation with the knowledge work and the stakeholder engagement at conferences such as Terry World Sustainability Development Summit. He holds management education and from JBS Institute of Management, Bhubaneswar. So with this introduction, we would like to welcome Prashanta ji. Yes, Prashanta ji.
Am I audible, Bimal ji?
Yes, yes.
Am I audible? Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you and your team. and also I am also fortunate, to hear our esteemed other panelists. And of course, there are so many experts who are also there in the online. So I'd like to say good evening, everyone, and for giving me this opportunity. I will also thank you and your team. See, I have been working on clean energy access for quite a long time, and as you said that on implementation side, yes, I have been implementing various solar interventions, particularly the decentralized solar interventions, and also I'm also part of the clean cook stove programs. And as you know, that TERI also promoted various solutions on cooking front, particularly in the last decade. We promoted solar powered cooking solutions, but again it was a hybrid solutions, particularly including the biomass as well as solar. So here the battery plays a role, because I'll share my experience, particularly the implementation of IDS project, integrated domestic energy systems in Bihar, in which we designed a system that meet the household energy needs, particularly the lighting and cooking. So that was solutions for backward region as well as the flood affected areas of Bihar. The reason being, as ma'am has just said before, uh, Dhamija ma'am. So we faced a lot of energy issues, particularly due to unscheduled and scheduled power cuts in the villages. So we thought of there is also demand from the community sides that they need light, particularly during evening time, peak time, when the load is quite high. And of course the cooking, because the remote areas or the backward areas, they are dependent on traditional biomass. And even today around 40% households are dependent on traditional biomass. So it is not that easy to replace unless the technology is very robust and technology is affordable. What we have understood over the years, that whatever the technology we are promoting, it has to be affordable. The upfront cost should be less, and the installment financing should be available. Particularly if you talk about those users, potential users who are going to use electric cooking. Obviously their economic capacity is very less. They may not afford such kind of technology if the cost is at as high as 10,000, 5,000, even for a system of costing 10,000, like we disseminated in the past. They needed installment, finance, flexible finance at the very minimum interest rate. So we worked with the GBK, and GBK from its corpus fund, supported this flexible financing model to its networks across the 10 to 12 districts. So they are able to repay the loan amount they took in a period of 10 to 12 months. So what I want to tell, that when you disseminate a technology, it has to be accepted, it has to be affordable, and or financing must be available. Then only we can disseminate. Obviously they are technology neutral. When you talk about the monthly, when you talk about electric cooking, it has some implications on monthly electricity bill. So we have to ensure that that their current monthly electricity bill is not much affected. So that is our experience. So government of Bihar is also introducing some schemes in which they are also providing subsidies, or free electricity, somewhere around 125 units to the people in the backward region or in the rural region. And we should also explore the opportunity while we are promoting battery operated cooking or electric cooking. So that is where we can take the chance. And what other panelists also suggested, we should do some piloting to understand the acceptance, and the piloting should also include demonstration of technology. That is where the people are the at the cluster level, they can use and they can experience the benefits of such systems, and so they get required, awareness and training. So the exposure helps, in creating the demand for this kind of product. So that is what I want to say, and the why I am so much stressing on networks, particularly women networks, because women are the users of cook stoves. So they are the people who are facing the challenges, particularly in arranging the traditional biomass for cooking. So they should be taken as a primary beneficiaries or primary stakeholders for this kind of programs. And of course they should be part of energy entrepreneurship, what you suggested to tell me about it. We have been promoting that energy entrepreneurship, particularly the women energy entrepreneurship program we initiated in 2020-21 with the support of World Bank in Bihar. And you see, that time we started with 25 energy enterprises, and Bihar Jivika has scaled it up with other agencies, the same model, solar mat model, and they have, I think, established more than 400 energy entrepreneurs. So what does it mean, the energy entrepreneurs? So when you talk about the person or the entrepreneur who is engaged in the business of clean cooking or clean lighting, or energy efficient products. So that is where they also get some income. The energy entrepreneur not only get the income, additional income, but also the associated, the woman who works as a technician, so who acts as a mobilizer of this kind of technology or other solar products. So they got so some kind of livelihoods, also additional livelihoods aspects is added to this a dissemination program. So that's where they also keep interest in this kind of dissemination model. So one thing is that they are also not only the users, but also they are the managing the business in the rural area. So that's where we have to explore, and such energy entrepreneurship must be developed and scaled it up in other states also. So that's where their engagement will be there, and that's what I want to highlight. And that also helps in because there are so many women SHGs and federations at different states under the livelihood missions, and easy financing can be explored with these livelihood missions. So that can help building the ecosystem in dissemination and strengthening these kind of programs. So I'll not talk about much on innovations, but definitely battery operated, solar operated, these are the very clean and already recognized clean solutions which should be promoted. And rooftop solar program which is going on across the states in the country may be prioritized for interventions, because the additional solar energy is definitely boom for promoting this cook stove programs. Because when the generation is happening at the household level or at the local level, that will definitely will not uh, not rather it is a it will not create any kind of burden for getting energy. You are not going to purchase more energy because you are generating your energy for your household energy or cooking energy requirements. So that's what I want to say from my side.
Thank you, Prashantaji, for highlighting the ground level experiences and your experience, how we have did and all, and the role can be denied considering that the time you have spent in this sector. So with this, now I will go back to my all panelists just for one minute each with a specific question, and then I will take some question, 3-4 questions. And I assume some delay will be happen around 5 to 7 minutes. Hope it is fine. So I want to start with Abhishek ji. So Abhishek ji, when we talk about the a lot of scope is there for the battery driven economy, and especially when you also manage the solar part. So how you see that it can actually solar can provide the additional opportunity, and most importantly, I also want to understand that currently where these electrons are flowing. It is flowing out, drained out, or it is used, or it can be captured at the later stage, and the battery can provide some solution.
The question is for me, right, Vimalji?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So the point is, if you see current PM Surya Ghar scheme, it is having the option of having hybrid inverters, wherein the same subsidy is being proposed, that is 30,000 rupees per kilowatt to 78 kilowatt for 3 kilowatt capacity. It means there is an inbuilt solution within the PM Surya Ghar scheme around it. And it is what is additional is actually the battery, which is actually required. And that battery can be used for cooking as well as for other purposes as well. So it all depends on the kind of usage which a household is looking for from this storage option. Because the moment the household goes for solarization of the consumption, and net metering being in place, he can anyway, schedule his charging of the battery during daytime and using it during the peak time. And this integrated approach would be, I think, crucial for a household to uh, actually completely shift from conventional cooking to electric cooking. In fact, we would love to have some support from the government as well. In fact, we are advocating that to have additional support for the battery, because that is where the real issue lies, the upfront cost. And if that support can come through, some specific incentive in the form of some incentive to the household over and above the 30,000 rupees per kilowatt subsidy under PM Surya Ghar, I think this will be something which can be done at much faster pace. And actually, it will augment the PM Surya Ghar capacities as well, because people would be going for the entire 3 kilowatt capacity to utilize the maximum amount of subsidy from the central government. If you see other states like UP, they are having additional subsidy of 30,000 up to 2 kilowatt, which means 1,08,000 rupees subsidy is there for UP, wherein 3 kilowatt installations are happening. 3 kilowatt installation in typical household, especially in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, along with the rural cities, 360 units minimum is going to be generated. And I'm not sure whether 360 units can actually be consumed in tier 2 and tier 3 cities unless they have specific air conditioners in the household. So the additional amount of electricity which is getting generated and not being used for other applications can definitely be used for cooking. So I find that this solar with a hybrid inverter and electric cooking with battery as a combination approach would help adoption of the electric cooking at much faster pace. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek ji, for being very prompt and on time. And now I'm moving to Rajan ji. Rajan ji, specifically, I want to understand from you uh, how the grid is going to behave when do we still require to manage the peak load, and is the household level battery backup connected with the grid is actually can become a solution, or it is just an idea which is good idea to hear, or it's actually implementable, or if we can actually think for the pilot and all, though you have already added earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, I had described 2 pilots also, and recommended also that suggested that more pilots should be done. So actually, it is a very good thing, and I had pioneered it 2 years back also. But now the things are in place. This peer-to-peer trading has also been piloted. Also, V2G has been piloted. IES is also underway. So a lot of positive things are happening, and now it's the time that with the increasing RE injection, intermittent RE injection through rooftop solar for the houses, there is a condition that they can install only that much capacity what their connected load is. So if they install this free power, if they have the rooftop space, they can easily use that power in cooking, and other things can be avoided. So it is basically net zero cost, it is coming. Only thing is the innovations required in this smart algorithms and all. So that has to be done. R&D and more efforts have to be done. And we have to compete with China. Otherwise, China will overshadow our market. It is slowly coming up. So this is the thing. And I had also pointed out that green electricity will be, green component of the electricity will also be more this way. And all the subsidy can be recovered from whatever the additional capacity, say coal-based, can be deferred. Because in the day itself, houses generated electricity and it is using during the evening peak or maybe a next day morning peak. So it is just like it is not actually subsidy. It is just same cost or lower cost and overall more reliable, greener grid and avoiding of pollution and so many other health hazards. So this is my reply to your
Thank you,
query.
Rajenji. Thank you, Rajenji. I can see a lot of strong recommendations. We should actually try test on this. And now I want to go back to our next speaker, Dr. Dhamija. And I want to continue from the Rajanji when we are talking about Indianization of the reliability on the Indian manufacturer, the China factor. So how India can actually become a hub for battery when we have a PLI, when we have some technology visible, and then of course we want to become Atmanirbhar Bharat. So how you see in this in possibly in 2 minutes, please. Jamila ma'am.
Yeah, can you please repeat? Your voice was breaking.
So, ma'am, I'm saying that a continuation to the previous talk of the Rajanji, that China factor is there and the battery is becoming more prominent. We have a PLI scheme. How we can see that India is going to take a lead in the battery storage size, because that the kind of household kind of population requirement is going to have, the ambition we are going to have, it is huge. So how India should actually look for this opportunity? And you are requested to complete in 2 minutes, please.
Yeah. No. I have been associated with this battery, battery industry for quite long. When I was doing the electric vehicles, we had a lot of deficiency in the number of manufacturers who were doing this. And in fact, there were so many institutes who were involved in the manufacture of the fuel cells and the batteries. But what I feel is that there is a need for the government side to push it so that people can take up, or more and more manufacturers can come up, and also a lot more R&D can be done in this. We have a lot of choices. If you see the reports and all that, there are so many options. It is not only the lithium battery which needs to be promoted. There are other types of batteries also which can be taken up. And if you are talking of China, you have the sodium battery, the aluminium battery, which are there. So all these batteries need to be tried up. You can take up these batteries, and when we were doing research, BHU was doing something on nickel metal hydride batteries. That was a very promising battery, but I don't see anything of that being taken up now. So other options have to be tried. We have to try it in our institutes also, and we have to try with the manufacturer in the industry also. The collaborations with the industry are very important. That is very important. CSIR was on board with us, and we were promoting the industry. We used to really interact with the industry, identify the problems, and then push it. So I feel that sort of an approach should be taken up by the government, by the industry, and the manufacturers. They have to come together and identify, and we can look for newer options also. That is my answer. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for very quick and elaborate discussions. Now, last point with the Prashanta ji. So how it is, like you talked about the funding availability, especially the Jivika and their NBFC, the way MFI they provide. So now I wanted to understand that how it is suitable for the rural India or the far-flung India, where that finance is really become a challenge and the grid stability is the challenge, where the battery is needed most. So, yeah.
So, am I audible now?
I wanted to understand from the affordability and the financing perspective, because in far-flung and rural area, the stability is very less. There we require a most battery on and this kind of a backup. And since the power cut is higher, so battery capacity has to be higher. So yes.
Yes, I think financing. What I told that we have to explore the banks which are linked with the households. Those households, say for example, SHGs are linked to the banks. For various purposes, not only for promoting clean energy solutions, but also to create other household level assets and for other purposes. So what we think that we should target those financing institutions which are directly linked to those SHG groups or federations. They can finance, and nowadays the financing has been easier than what was what's the main challenges so 4 to 5 years back. So we heard that the women are doing, particularly the federations are doing very well, particularly on entrepreneurship. For various livelihoods, they're getting funding from different banks, rural banks, even the financial institutions, formal financial institutions in the rural area. So we should target those those households who are already organized. So that is where financing is easily available. So that is where I think the Jibika initiatives or the livelihood initiatives are working, so that the people who are not having adequate assets or the relevant assets, or particularly when you talk about any household assets or clean energy assets, they should be bankable. So that's where they're organizing themselves to access the finance. So we should target those kind of institutions who are directly working with this kind of local organizations, or the another organization is like FPO, farmers producer organizations. We can explore these kind of local organizations should be tapped for our initiatives. If you intervene particularly in the backward region for promoting these kind of solutions, and there the institutions are being built by the government, and you can easily do the piloting, and we can get the support for piloting, or for rather, if our piloting is successful, then it can be scaled up through that. So FEO, then Federation of Women, these kind of institutions, and we should also promote these institutions for promoting the clean energy solution. So whatever the value chain is required, so after services challenges are required, potential after services challenges which may come after intervention, either it is piloting or whether it is scaling up initiatives. So we should target these initiatives so that these institutions, so that they can take up after sales as well. So since these institutions are built up, we should leverage these kind of institutions so that financing would be easily available, and we can link with the government programs So I think this is the suggestion from my side. Thank you.
So, yeah, thank you, Prasantaji. So I quickly take some questions. There's no question, some 2 points I wanted to talk. First of all, we are very happy that even it's delayed by almost 14 minutes, but the enthusiasm of the people is very much there. So really appreciate this. So Sanjeev Jain has mentioned that this solution is a very good solution, battery storage offer versatile and reliable solution for the cooking using solar power, particularly when considering the potential for the cost saving and environmental benefit. Yes, definitely, Sanjeev ji, for the very valuable suggestions and comment. Then somebody has asked this question: is this technology is piloted or what is the costing? So yes, we wanted to mention that. Okay, so Mr. Basudev has asked this question. So yes, this technology is not, this concept is not piloted. This concept is first time we have actually thought or put on the idea stage. So this is the very much idea stage, and Mr. Rajan has mentioned that some pilot happened somewhere. But yes, definitely this is worthwhile to try and all. And Nick, can you still able to hear us? And you wanted to say something. And the last point that I wanted to highlight that please join us for the Modern Energy Cooking Forum, which is happening on 26th September at New Delhi. There you can able to achieve multiple things. One is that what clean cooking manufacturers are doing, what are the devices available, what kind of cooking is possible, and you can able to meet a lot of people from the modern energy-based cooking, which is a kind of unique in the world. Yeah. So please register yourself to join us. Nick, are you there? Okay. So with this, we like to thank you. Thank you for your participations and being patient with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ji.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.